Wolfpack, what is going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Rose Street. RoseStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your Week 13 Thanksgiving sit starts. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I know who knows what attendance will be like today, if we get a good crowd or not. Given it is the holiday, totally understand. If not, it's a great day, though. My favorite holiday, personally, football, family, food. What could be better than those big three? So hopefully you are somewhere where you are ready to celebrate, having a great day. Even better, we have a phenomenal slate of games. I mean, every single game has some consequential action to it. Big quarterback showdowns between Lamar and Burrow tonight. You got Chiefs and Cowboys, kind of playoff game here. The loser of that has very low odds of continuing forward. They drop to about 30%. The Chiefs, if they lose, Cowboys pretty much dead if they lose this game as well. And then Packers and Lions, a humongous divisional showdown. So we have a ton of phenomenal action here, Wolfpack, to dive into. Of course, the vast majority of this show will be dedicated to your questions and all of that good stuff. But again, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a great night, easy travel, whatever it might be yesterday, and you're nice and settled in today and can just enjoy this wonderful slate of football and all the family and good food coming your way. So the way we'll do this is I have each game, the spread, handful of bets I want to hit. Who am I picking to win the games? Do I like the spreads, touchdown scores, all that good stuff? And all the news from each of the games. I have a little bit of Week 13 news built up, but I think we can rip through that like in 2 minutes because the vast majority of it is still undecided. No reason to waste any of your Thanksgiving time with that. But we will dive into a preview of each of the games really quickly. I'd say we're done with this in about 15, 20 minutes, and then on to all your questions, just trying to get that mailbag building up. But again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there. Please do consider, if you like what you're hearing, that thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets. Help us get out to more people. It would be greatly appreciated. But let's dive on into this Thanksgiving Day slate and all of your sit starts. Again, who knows? It might be an hour-long show and we're done. But thank you again so much for those of you that do show up today. I'm very, very thankful that I get to do this and enjoy your company and enjoy your questions and everything. Thanks again. This has really been such a ride to be doing this. And you guys are the reason why I can still keep doing it. So thank you again so much. Let's dive into this first game. Packers plus 2.5 at Lions. The over-under is 48.5. This is the first time the Packers have been an underdog this season, which I've found pretty insane. I feel like the Lions have to win this one, but there is that validity of the short turnaround from Sunday where they played. I didn't have the exact, I should have written it down. I believe it was like 80 total snaps on defense. Might have been 77 total with that overtime game, James pushing them to the brink. And just the fact that, again, the Giants pushed them to the brink. The Lions certainly are not untouchable here. That being said, the Packers, though, they rolled them in the first game. I just think in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, Dan Campbell gets the boys fired up and ready to go. So I am going to take the Lions even with the points, 2.5. That being said, Jordan Love has been phenomenal only in 2 Thanksgiving games, but he's 2-0, 43 of 60, a 72% completion rate, 542 total yards, so right around 270 a game, 5 touchdowns with 0 interceptions, averaging 127 passing rating. And so all I have to say is I actually have Love a couple spots above the ECR. Let me know if you have a Jordan Love question for your quarterback position. I do like him. This is a positive matchup. Again, Jameis just put up 30 points, and I don't think Jordan Love is going to streak down the field and break a tackle and catch a touchdown. That was one of the most fun plays I have seen in a long time. Unbelievable. But I do think Jordan Love could have another 270-ish yard, 2 to 3 touchdown day and be very, very solid for you in fantasy. In DraftKings, he's the cheapest quarterback of the day at $5,500, projected to be one of the lower owned quarterbacks of the day as well. So I do like getting to some Jordan Love in that type of action here. I like him in those 1.5 touchdown bets. He's one of the lower odds of all the quarterbacks on the slate. I like that touchdown bet for him to go over 1.5 touchdowns. If you even want to tease it up to 2.5, you're getting a little shaky there. Your odds get very nice, though. I'd probably keep it at the 1.5 over for Jordan Love touchdowns there. But I do think the Lions take this one. I do like Jahmyr Gibbs to record over 125 plus rushing and receiving. If you tease that up, you can get up to 200 plus 200 on that bet. And he's topped 100 total yards in 3 straight games since Dan Campbell took over the play calling. They keep talking about David Montgomery. We're going to get him involved. He hasn't scored in 3 straight. It really has been the Jahmyr Gibbs show. 264 total yards of offense and 3 touchdowns last week. Much, much stiffer defense. The Giants are the worst run D in the league. So I don't expect something of that crazy magnitude, but 125 plus rushing and receiving, totally could see him rip at least one big one and rack up those chunks. So I like him at plus 200 there. Some other betting notes I tracked down on this one. Green Bay is 1-4 against the spread in road games this year. 1-5 against the spread in their past 6 conference games. 26-11 is Detroit as a favorite since 2023. And the under has hit in the line's past 3 games against teams with winning records. I think I'm going to go ultimately Lions with the points there with those betting trends in mind. I like this over to still hit, though. I do think we get some points here to kick off our Thanksgiving Day slate. Just some quick news and notes from this game as well. Brock Wright is ruled out, but the far bigger news is that Josh Jacobs is going to be back. I have a very hard time imagining I'd sit him. You could, of course, can let me know your sit starts. It is a tough matchup. 6th in rushing DVOA is the Lions' rush defense. 3rd fewest points allowed to the running back position. So it's not like Jacobs is a must hammer him in. There is the risk of a potential flare, although this is more of a pain tolerance thing, and Josh Jacobs is known to be one of the toughest running backs in the league. He probably would have played last week had this not been a short week, had they been worried about the Vikings at all, were some of the reports I was reading. So ultimately, Josh Jacobs right there at running back 14 for me, likely into your lineups, but please do, of course, let me know if you have a question on there. Matthew Golden, questionable. We don't have final word there, but we do know Jaden Reed was not activated. Brutal, but you can hopefully keep him in your IR spot. Still love Christian Watson. One of my favorite props today is Christian Watson to score a touchdown. I even sprinkled in a little bit of 2-touchdown Christian Watson love, plus 1,600, $5, win a quick 90. I'll take that bet. Why not? Well, because I'm burning money on fire. Why not? But ultimately, I do like him to score today, if not score twice. And then Frank Ragnow, expected to come out of retirement. I don't believe it will be that'd be a quick turnaround. I can't imagine. I forget when this report emerged, but the center for the Lions, longtime center, will be back for maybe the playoff push there for them as well. All righty, guys. And again, my favorite touchdown scores from this game are Christian Watson plus 195 or to score twice. Jordan Love for 2 passing touchdowns I do like as well. Ross Dwelly, a little sprinkle, Hail Mary, the fill-in for Brock Wright, plus 500. I'd actually go to Firksker if I'm going to do a backup tight end. He's plus 700, and he's always been a weird red zone machine. But this is not where I'm getting the majority of my touchdown action because, I think Gibbs scores minus 190. He's fine if you're sprinkling in one of those, like, huge ones. And Montgomery's odds aren't that good for a guy that hadn't scored in 3 weeks as well. So not a game I'm hammering the touchdown totals for. But I do, again, like Christian Watson. I do like Jordan Love plus for 2 touchdowns as well. We did get a super chat here to kick off the action. Thank you so much, Hillary, for your support from the living room downstairs. Really appreciate it. Of course, if you do want to support your boy, show some thanks. It is so greatly appreciated. Never expected. You will be able to cut the line. Thank you very much, Hillary, for your support. I will be sure to check your lineup before kickoffs today as well. But anybody else out there, if you would like to show some thanks, always appreciated. You guys have been so generous and kind, especially on those Sunday mornings. It is so greatly appreciated. So thank you again so much. Let's dive into this Chiefs-Cowboys game. Over under 52.5, Chiefs -3. I'm taking the Chiefs. I like Mahomes in this one. He has never lost a game on the road on a the stat was kind of crazy. What was it? Patrick Mahomes never lost a road game on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday. Random. Okay. But I do think Mahomes comes in here. The Chiefs seem like that team of destiny, as much as I hate to say it. I think they're still going to win the Super Bowl. Brutal stuff there. But I do think Mahomes comes in here, handles his business. I think the Cowboys will certainly give him some resistance. They did just have that monster comeback, second biggest in history against the Eagles this last week. They're 4-1 against the spread as an underdog this season. They're 4-0 in their past 4 games as a home underdog. Kansas City, meanwhile, is 1-4 against the spread in road games and 1-4 against the spread as a road favorite this season. 0-3 in their past 3 games overall, and 0-3 against the spread in their past 3 games as a favorite as well. So kind of sketchy there in terms of betting the Chiefs, but I do think they come in, they handle business. You can just picture Mahomes with the greasy turkey leg and all that juice all over his face. I love this game too. This is where I'm definitely hitting the majority of my touchdown bets. Kelsey, I think, scores Obviously, Rashee Rice he's guaranteed, in my opinion, one of the biggest locks. I know he's only minus 135, but I think he is definitely hitting the end zone. But my favorite bet of the day is Mahomes plus 400 to score a touchdown. I think that is a phenomenal bet to sprinkle in there today. Really gets you some juicy bets if you sprinkle something of that nature. And I don't even hate, my buddy suggested this one, Dak Prescott plus 750, had a rushing touchdown last week, getting mobile at the goal line. I certainly think it is possible for two quarterback touchdowns in this game. You can kind of hear that narrative there. But in terms of the news, Rashee Rice off the injury report, Xavier Worthy off the injury report, George Pickens expected to play, fully healthy to go. The one note that was maybe changing rankings, it did impact my rankings a bit, is Isiah Pacheco is going to play today, muddies up this backfield. You just had Kareem Hunt fresh off a 30-carry, 104-yard, 1 TD, running back 8 last week performance. In the 4 games without Pacheco, running back 11, 16, 19, and 8 in his absence. Kareem Hunt was a very dependable running back too, very, very viable each and every week. You look at the games with Pacheco, unfortunately, Hunt has been a lot less consistent outside the top 45 running backs in 5 of 7 games, kind of became a poor man's David Montgomery, or I mean, these days rich because Montgomery doesn't score anymore, but was a very much touchdown or bust option. And in those 5 games, he didn't hit touchdowns, did not score. I do think that the way he's played, the success rate on those short yardage, the dependability, the reliability, I think this is Kareem Hunt's backfield. I think Pacheco plays that secondary role. I still was enough, though, for me to drop Kareem Hunt from my running back 19 all the way down to my running back 27. Still very much in play if you need a back today, but ultimately much riskier bet, in my opinion, with Isiah Pacheco there. We did get a super chat, so we'll move on to that before we wrap up our Chiefs and Cowboys preview here. Happy Thanksgiving, Rob. Really, really appreciate your kind of generous super chat here, good sir, especially on this holiday. Half PPR, Caleb or Brissett? I am going to go with Brissett on that one. The guy still has not been outside the top 12 quarterbacks in a single week since taking over. I believe he's been over 19 fantasy points in every single start. And then you mix in the Tampa Bay Bucks, not a defense to fear by any means. In terms of points against, the Bucks are the 6th best matchup for quarterbacks. So I do think Brissett keeps the good times rolling here and has yet another top 12 week. Caleb obviously has been playing pretty lights out himself. To me, it just feels a little bit, not flukier, but so much of it happens at the end of games and those final drives. And those points all count the same. But still, Philly defense, a little bit rougher there. So between both of these guys kind of cooking right now, I'll take the matchup. And I just feel like Brissett has a little bit of a safer floor here right now. Yeah, again, quarterback 7, 12, 10, 10, 4, and 8 across all of his starts. The guy's been really cooking, and I am absolutely all here for it. So I'm going to go with Brissett over Caleb. In terms of your running back to Swift, Monty, or Rodriguez, Swift would have been the slam dunk no-brainer just a week ago, but ultimately coming off that game last week where Monangai seemed to take over the backfield, 1 fantasy point, 8 carries for 15 yards, 1 catch for 14. So I guess if you play PPR, you might have got to 3 total points, 2 and change for Swift. That is very sketchy. I don't know. So I had these ranked, and you're making me kind of reconsider things. I had these ranked Swift, then Montgomery, and then Rodriguez. I don't know, though. I mean, Rodriguez getting Denver isn't the best of spots for the guy, but he was the clear lead back, 15 carries, 79 yards. This is one I think I'm going to adjust on the fly here, Rob, for the rankings. This is why I love doing the show. I say it every time, but I ultimately, you guys help me sift through these rankings so much. And when I push comes to shove, would I actually put Swift in over Chris Rodriguez this week? Probably not, in my opinion, coming off that week. I actually think Monangai should be ahead of Swift, so I'm going to change that as well. Montgomery, I think, gets into the end zone today. I'd call it a weird gut call. I think it's a tough Denver defense, so that's the issue. Like if this was, Miami again, or he has a joke schedule. I love Rodriguez for the playoff stretch run. I think, gun to my head, I'm going to go Montgomery and just hope he pounds in the end zone. That's a risk, though. And then obviously, he doesn't hit your Thanksgiving Day. You got to play some of these factors too, right? When it's this close, literally 30, 31, 33. You got to factor in some of this. Do I really want my Thanksgiving turkey not tasting good because David Montgomery had 10 yards and 0 touchdowns? Go Chris Rodriguez. I'm going to go Chris Rodriguez, if nothing else, to preserve your holiday fun. Of course, it's that much more fun if Montgomery, you play him, he gets 2 touchdowns, and you're like, yeah. And then your face gets a little spoiled if you don't play him, but you still know that, yeah, maybe Chris Rodriguez does get 60 yards and 2 touchdowns, or 60 yards and a score himself to match that. I'm gonna go Chris Rodriguez here, Rob, and adjust my rankings on the fly. Let me know where you're leaning. That's a very tough one. Feel pretty good about the Brissett one. That running back one is very, very tough. But I'm leaving Chris Rodriguez as of right now, and I adjusted my rankings, which will be updated at rotostreetjournal.com after this stream. I'll tweet them out to everybody as well. We also have a flex between Jennings, Debo, and Tez Johnson. It's another one that you're very invested in these Commanders, which is too bad with Jayden Daniels going down here, Rob. And, of course, it's even more concerning when you got Denver on the other side this week. I limit this one down to Jennings versus Debo, both in very tough spots, Denver and then Cleveland. I think I'm going to go with Debo just because, yes, Denver is a brutal secondary, but the way they use him so much is design screens and in the backfield and wheel routes and just creative usage. That 8 target, 7 catch, 74-yard, 1 touchdown day, wide receiver 9 last week for Debo, looking good, fresh off the bye. We don't know yet what Terry's status is, but hopefully, honestly, if Terry plays, that draws a bit of their top coverage there. I'm going to go with Debo here. I think he's the best bet of these guys to score. Jennings being the next. I'd rank them Debo, then Jennings, then Tez, because it does sound like Godwin's going to get a little bit of a ramp up. I do love Tez. I tweeted about a couple of weeks how he reminds me of Tank Johnson with that slippery ability, even as small as he is. He's good in the red zone because he can just shake free so well. But ultimately, with Godwin now getting ramped up a bit more, I'm going to go, I'd rank them Debo, then Jennings, then Tez. And I would go Chris Rodriguez, and I would go Brissett. Tough question, very closely ranked for all these guys. But thank you so much, Rob. I really, really appreciate this, especially on a day like Thanksgiving. You are so kind to show your support. And my man, thank you so, so much, Rob. And best of luck today. We were just wrapping up Wolfpack, our Cowboys and Chiefs preview. 330 of you, not bad for the first 17 minutes of just a random Thanksgiving show. Really appreciate it. Please do consider it a free way to help your boy is that thumbs up button on YouTube, the heart button on Twitter, the likes, the shares, the retweets. Really does help us get out to more people and continue to grow the show. But to wrap up, again, our Chiefs-Cowboys preview here, I'm taking the Chiefs. Even with the points, I take the Chiefs in that one, despite all the betting trends often suggesting no. I should have said this at the top of the show. A couple of just like overall betting trends for Thanksgiving. And it's one of those things. I heard this one on Pardon My Take, and they brought up the same point as me. It's like, how do I lose money every Thanksgiving when these are the trends? 51-9 straight up are the favorites on Thanksgiving. 40-20 are favorites against the spread. 67% batting rate there on the favorites against the spread since 2004, right there. And then road favorites, so applying to the Chiefs, are 25-1 straight up and 20-6 against the spread on Thanksgiving. And that's the Chiefs this week, the road favorite as well. So just another feather in his cap. And again, my favorite bet of the day is Pat Mahomes plus 400. I really like him to score. I like mixing in Rice and Kelsey as well. Lamb, Pickens. This game is going to be a touchdown fest. I do like, but the way that the pace of the Chiefs and the Cowboys defense stiffening up since those Quentin Williams, especially that acquisition. And that's another reason why I'm a little lower on Hunt. Not only Pacheco coming in, but Quentin Williams as well. The last 2 running backs, Saquon held to 22 yards the week before. Let me pull it up because the Cowboys, they're still it looks like it's a good matchup for running backs because they were such a absolute joke early in the year. But they've really stiffened up. They went from the second best matchup to the 9th. But when you look at the recent weeks, Genty 6.4, Saquon 8.9, Bam Knight 5.7. And really it is Genty and Barkley who face them with Quentin Williams in line. That's 2 studs under double-digit points. I do worry very much about Pacheco being a viable play for you today. But again, of course, let me know what you have for and Kareem Hunt rather than Pacheco. You're not playing Pacheco, I hope, today. So let me know, though, if you have any questions on that one. And to wrap up our, again, phenomenal Thanksgiving Day slate, Joe Burow versus Lamar. These 2 teams just shout out completely last year. Now, it is Burrow's first game back, so I don't know if we can expect that. But in terms of let me just pull up Ravens, Bengals box scores. I wrote it down, and So 34-35 on November 4th and 41-38. So 79 and 69 points. The over-under 52.5. I think you know which way I'm leaning. Burrow went 428 and 4 touchdowns last year in the first or the second time they met, and 392 and 5 touchdowns in the first game. So hold on. That's 392 plus 400 was 448, I believe what it was, and 428. So 820 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2 games against the Ravens, and lost them both. Joe Burow last year. That is absolutely insane. I don't know that we can expect that type of production in his first game back. This Ravens secondary, Kyle Hamilton being back, has been monstrous for this team. The defense really has stiffened up these last few weeks. That being said, these divisional games can get crazy at times, and I do like this one to go over 52.5 to hit, 79 like years past, maybe not. And let me know if you guys want to answer a question for me. I have Lamar and Burrow. I have both quarterbacks in this game. I have Lamar in. He's my guy. I spent the early capital on, and in an auction I spent like $25 on him. He gets the the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the best matchups you could ask for, one of the worst defenses by any metric in the league, third most points to quarterbacks. But Burrow, something about him feels nice tonight. So ultimately, I'm probably going to go Lamar. But we shall see there. In terms of some news, I like Bengals to cover this. I do think it's going to be a close enough game that the Bengals cover 7 points. And I'm not opposed to them money line at 300 plus 300 for the Bengals. I think they could really go in here. I'm so unimpressed with Baltimore right now. Lamar looks hurt. So, the boys getting rallied up for Cincinnati, and none of the trends favor that. Cincinnati's 1-4 against the spread in road games. They're 1-6 following a loss. Baltimore's 5-0 against teams with losing records this year. The Ravens against divisional opponents are 7-1 since 2024 and 7-1 in the over. So I at least like the over to hit. I'm telling you, I feel something in my gut tells me Joe Burow comes in here and makes this a very spicy game. So at minimum, I like the Bengals to cover that 7 points. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a little feisty and actually win this game straight up. For the news, Joe Burow we know he's activated. He says, I'm going to be playing in week 13 and beyond. I can't be scared of further injuries. I love Burow having that mentality. I'm healthy. I don't think, he says, I'm never going to be somebody that says, yes, I'm healthy, but I don't think I should play. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not going to live my life and play this game scared of something happening. I've had injuries. It's not a lot I can do about it. I work really hard to have that not happen, but what I can do is when it does happen, I can control is how I attack my rehab. And you see how he's back earlier than expected. I think Burrow's going to be I don't see any reason why we don't have him as the Burrow as we'd expect him to be. He's my quarterback 6 +2 ECR. Let me know if you have any questions on Joe Burow versus another one of your quarterbacks. A very tough one I got on Twitter was Burrow versus Brissett, because Brissett does have that very, very safe baked-in floor. Hasn't been outside the top 12 quarterbacks. Has a great matchup this week, so I expect that to continue. Burrow, to me, feels a little bit higher ceiling, though, so I do honestly lean Burrow in a lot of circumstances there. Other than that, T. Higgins, we know, will be out with a concussion, and Gesicki, I think, is a very sneaky sleeper. I like him +340 to score today. In 5 games without T. Higgins, he averaged nearly 14 points per game, would have been the tight end 3 on the season last year. I don't know if Fant's here, so we can't fully go into what that would have been like. But in 5 games, he caught 7 touchdowns. This is the pace, the full season pace, as to what he would do for a season. Would have been 88 catches, 1,061 yards, and 7 touchdowns on 122 targets for Gesicki. So I know we are going to have to factor in Fant. It won't be exactly a 1-for-1 what we saw from Gesicki last year. But I do like him a lot today in terms of props at +340 to score. I like him at 3,100 on DraftKings. Big fan of like a double stack tight end of Mark Andrews getting the easiest possible matchup today, or Isaiah Likely at 2,600. Both of those guys pretty intriguing today. More so Mark Andrews for sure in terms of DraftKings. 3,600 him, Mike Gesicki 3,100, and then you can really fit in kind of whoever you want with a lot of studs in terms of Gibbs, Jamar Chase, the 2 best at their positions right now. Rashee Rice in all of my lineups. Whatever Cowboys guy you're intrigued by. If you go to these double tight ends for cheap, it really allows you that flexibility to start doing some fun stuff with the rest of your lineup. Bateman expected to play, limited in Tuesday's practice. Virtually announced as a full, but he is expected to play, as is Kyle Hamilton as well. And then Justice Hill not expected to play in week 13. In fact, he's been ruled out at this point. So keep Mitchell the clear running back 2. 2 weeks ago, he had 8 touches, racked up 55 total yards on him. Last week, just 2 carries, 10 yards, and then a 1 reception for 9 yards. So didn't really carry those vibes over. You'd think against the Jets, maybe that's a good chance to get him going, but they were down for a lot of that game as compared to that Browns game where Mitchell could kind of shake loose. He shows a lot of juice every time he's in there. And against a Bengals run D, giving up, I believe it's the second most points. I think the Giants are at the top after. No, they're still, even after giving up 54 points to Jahmyr Gibbs last week, the Bengals are still the best matchup for running backs. So, yes, I think Derrick Henry completely feasts, but I also could see Keaton Mitchell getting there as well at 4,500 on DraftKings, a nice salary saver. Again, I like saving my salary at tight end with Gesicki, Mark Andrews. But another way to then you can really get Gibbs in every stud you want if you also play Keaton Mitchell in there as well. Alrighty, Wolfpack. That wraps up my preview of the 3 games so far. We got about 500 of you here. You'll love to see it. I'm just going to quickly rip through a couple of Week 13 news and notes entering the weekend that you should be aware of. And then it's on to all of your questions. Keep filling that mailbag up. I'll go as live as we have questions as long as we got them. Seems like a lighter show today. And totally understand. It's Thanksgiving. People have family, travel, all that stuff. But thank you again so much for being here with me. For those of you, 500 of you, I love it. 500, thank you. I'm so thankful to have such an incredible group here. You guys are the best. It's been such a great season. Thank you again. In terms of quarterback news and notes, J.J. McCarthy not expected to play. Maybe the softest benching of all time. Concussion symptoms arose on the plane. I'm sure. Did Kevin O'Connell whack him out the back of the head with a brick and self-induced concussion so he has an excuse not to play this horrific draft pick so far? I mean, Max Brosmer, a lot of people are downgrading their Vikings weapons, and I think so. We don't know at all what this guy's going to be, but can it actually be worse than J.J. McCarthy? Again, we've seen Nick Mullins, the quarterback whisperer, Kevin O'Connell, Josh Dobbs coming off the plane and throwing for 300 yards type of games. So it might be one of those things that J.J. McCarthy is just that bad and anybody else can do well. Maybe not. We will find out, but I did downgrade, Justin Jefferson. You have to. I did downgrade Jordan Addison to almost non-playable at this point, but I also would have kind of viewed it the same way with J.J. McCarthy. I don't know that this is a dramatic downgrade. Of course, it's an unknown, but it doesn't get much worse than what we've seen from J.J. McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers will be returning against the Bills with that left wrist after flipping off all those Bears cameras, and then they lose. Rodgers will be back in. This team does have the season kind of on the line at this point. Don't like playing Rodgers anyways, but just noting he's in. And similarly, don't love playing CJ Stroud, but he is expected to play. Sounds like there will not be a quarterback controversy at all. I did speculate Davis Chills 3-0, getting this team back alive, looking good while doing it. Sadly, they'll be turning it back to CJ Stroud. And I say sadly just because Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins, all these guys were playing better with Davis Mills behind center. So it'll be interesting to see if Stroud comes out there and just dumps in his pants what this team does the rest of the season, but he shall be in this weekend. In terms of running backs, the big news was Hampton is activated from the injured reserve. Doesn't guarantee he's going to play, but the window has been open. So within the next 3 weeks, he will be activated or done for the year. We're at the end of the year at that point. So the ramp-up period is starting. It sounds like he's looking good. He said he feels good. He hopes to be out there. My guess is Hampton does play, which of course nukes the value of Kimani Vidal, but we shall see. In a good matchup against the Raiders, either one of these running backs, whoever's starting, would be very much in play. Bucky Irving also coming back this week. Josh Grizzer did say we can expect a similar workload to that of Chris Godwin, and that ended up being 25 of 70 snaps. So a ramp-up pitch count. Not my favorite area to attack. It is a good matchup, a top 10 spot against the Arizona Cardinals, so Bucky Irving could still get there on very limited touches. Still, though, it makes me a little bit higher on Sean Tucker. Not more than Bucky, but I bumped him up the rankings a little bit. I'm plus 10 ECR on Tucker. Still love that guy. And a minus 5 ECR on Bucky Irving with this pitch count. Worries Alvin Kamara not practicing this week. It does seem like it will be the Devin Neal show. I imagine he'll be one of the poster boys of Sunday's show. A lot of questions coming in on Devin Neal. He took over that backfield, even though Taysom Hill did actually out-carry him, leading the Saints with 10 carries last week. But Neal getting a ton of receiving work and looking far better. And now that you have the week to kind of game plan it, I imagine Devin Neal will be the featured back against Miami. A very, very good matchup for running backs as well. Top 10 matchup, for running backs. So I do like Devin Neal this week. If you have any questions on him, let me know. And then Trey Benson, limited, still hasn't gotten that full in. not a guarantee to be active. We shall see come Sunday, or really Saturday, they'll have to open his window. Speaking of the Cardinals, Drew Petzing does say, even with Marvin Harrison resuming practice, we got quote that Michael Wilson will be continued to put higher in the progression given how he's produced. 18 and 15 targets. I'd say he's pretty high in the progression these last few weeks. And so I'm down on Marvin Harrison. I'm definitely up on Michael Wilson. I'm +7 ECR on him, even if Harrison returns. I think this is the Michael Wilson show. And just noting that Darren Waller is still out there in a ton of leagues. Seems like he's trending towards being activated. If you need like a George Kittle replacement next week, he faces the Jets. And down the stretch, he gets Darren Waller. I know he gets Cincinnati at least once in the fantasy playoffs. It would only be once, but I think it's another top 10 matchup for the guy. So let me see Darren Waller, just because he's out there in a bunch of leagues, and he was very, very solid. Let me pull Darren Waller up. Players. Thank you guys for your patience here. I had this screenshotted in a different document. Darren Waller. So yeah, 25% rostered. Don't forget, he went 16, 16, and 8, scored in all 3 games when he was active for this team. 4 combined touchdowns in 3 games. Very, very impressive. And yeah, so he goes Jets, solid matchup. Pittsburgh, 5th best matchup for tight ends. Cincy, the best matchup for tight ends. So in your fantasy playoffs, you get the 5th best, the 1st best, and then Tampa Bay, not a defense we're scared of, a potential shootout game in your fantasy championships. So Darren Waller, a guy I'm stashing in a bunch of IR spots out there in a ton of leagues. Get ahead on him. He could definitely be a difference-making tight end for your stretch runs. Moving on. That's actually all the week news I got. We did have for today, I should have had Trey Smith with that Chiefs game. He won't be playing, so that Cowboys front that's playing a lot better could be that. And Will Campbell is officially on IR. Will miss at least 4 weeks there. Alrighty, guys. That wraps up all the news and notes. We have a super chat from Mr. George Medina. Thank you so much, George. My opponent has Chase. Should I go Burrow over Dak? Oh, this is one of those tough strategy questions. Do you go all in and try to avoid that and just hope Chase stinks and Burrow stinks and you just fade it and you go with Dak? Or do you kind of minimize the wounds, lick your damage here? I do think I go Burrow. I already have Burrow above Dak. George, the only way I would pivot off of this one is if you're like a 30% chance to win and you need that upside to ultimately win, then you got to go another route, right? If let's say your opponent's projected for 120 and you're projected for 95 and you need to make up that ground, the only way to do that, like you can only make up, Burrow could throw 3 touchdowns to Mike Gesicki or 1 to Chase Brown. Yes, Burrow could get there without Chase, but ultimately if you're like a 50-50 battle, Chase can't get there without Burrow. The other way that would again work out for you is if just Chase doesn't do anything and Burrow doesn't do anything and you have Dak, great, good for you. I would go Burrow, though. I have Burrow higher in the rankings. If this is a close matchup, yes, Chase can outscore Burrow because obviously receiving yards, all that, you don't need to be explaining your scoring. But he can only get so far away is what I'm trying to get at. Maybe in full PPR, he could really sprint away. I probably would go Burrow here if you're like a 45 to 50% projected person in your match. If you are a severe underdog, that is where I would pivot to Dak with that 52.5. Both these guys, top 7 quarterbacks for me. I really, really like them both. And I do think Dak's a little safer, but I just think Burrow, again, against his opponents last year, 820 yards in their 2 games, 9 touchdowns. This defense is just as bad, so they're going to need him to chuck. I like Burrow today. J1364, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. Need 1 running back from Walker, Swift, Monangai, Neal. Thanks. I'm going to avoid the Chicago situation for Black Friday tomorrow. Tough Philly run defense. That front 7 is ferocious. So then it comes down to like talent in Walker or situation with Neal. And as much as I do like Neal, both these guys are kind of committee backs. I had to take a peek, and I have right now I have Neal 22 and Walker 23. I'm going to switch those and put Walker above him. We just saw Minnesota get destroyed by Emmanuel Wilson. They've gotten beaten by Kamani Vidal and Kenneth Gainwell. They play stiffer against running back ones for some reason. But for 3 straight weeks now, we've seen Kenneth Walker vastly out-touch and out-snap Charbonnet. It was unfortunate for Charbonnet to come in and reclaim that goal line role last week. Did not want to see that. But it unfortunately happened. nonetheless, I just think Walker in a game, the Sam Darnold revenge game, I think they're going to pile on points, and ultimately both those running backs could get there. So give me Walker, a little bit safer than Neal, and certainly safer than diving into that running back mess in Chicago in a tough matchup. I'm going to lean with Walker on that one, J1364. Thank you again so much for the super chat. I believe that wraps up 4 super chats today. Very kind, very generous of you guys on this day of giving thanks. And thank you guys so much for being here. We're at 633 on to the regular mailbag Wolfpack, but please do consider maybe we can hit 1,000, even 2,000, 35 minutes. This isn't a horrible mark. Usually we're at about 1,500 or so by now, but hey, we'll take it on a random Thanksgiving morning. Please do consider hitting the thumbs up on YouTube, the heart button on Twitter, those likes, the shares, the retweets. It all does help us grow so much. I'm going to get a quick swig of water, and then, Droid, we're on to your question. All righty, Droid. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, sir. Start 1 quarterback, 2 flex, and 1 receiver. Lamar or Joe Burrow? So I have that same debate, Droid, and I'm going to go Lamar. If he doesn't come through tonight, though, I'm probably going to go Burrow the rest of the year because he hasn't looked fully healthy, but you can always imagine what a get-right spot for Lamar. The Bengals, what a bad run defense, too. Get those legs going a little bit for Lamar. Plus 215 to score, I don't mind for Lamar as well. But I'm going to go Lamar tonight, and then this is kind of his last straw. If you can't get it done against the Bengals, give me Joe Burrow the rest of the year. For Zay, Wandale, Tet, Scary Terry, Jacobs, Cook, and Javonte, we need 2 flex and 1 receiver. So you got to go Cook. Oh, man. So we can only start 2 of these running backs. I think I'm going to go Cook and Jacobs slightly over Javonte. Would like to have Javonte in there, but this is a tough Chiefs run D. And so if I had to bench one of those 2 running backs, it's going to be him. So give me James Cook. Give me Jacobs. And I need a receiver from this bunch. I mean, the way Wandale is cooking, I feel like Zay always, yes, this is the Bengals defense. They could be a very good spot, but he's always ranked, consensus inside the top 20, wide receiver 20 ECR this week. And he has not been inside the top 20 wide receivers since week 1. He had that blow up in week 1. If we're talking half PPR, he's been outside the top 20 wide receivers. He had a wide receiver 21 weeks, so he's close against Cleveland. That was 9.8. Let's read his fantasy points for you. 11, 2, 10, 9, 5, 10, 8, 10, 9, 9. It's all just like, okay. It's a fine wide receiver 3. Give me Wandale, who has, multiple 100-yard efforts, 170 last week. Yeah, you don't have Jameis likely slinging that rock, which, oh, man, that was a beautiful thing last week for sweet Jameis. But ultimately, we have the similar floor in terms of a bunch of 9-pointers for Wandale, but we have a 24, a 17, a 12. He has, in terms of you compare all their high scores, Wandale would have 4 of the top 5 scores between him and Zay Flowers on the season. So I'm going to go Wandale for that one. I don't want to trust Scary Terry against Denver's first game back. I mean, Tet is very, very tempting too, but he just. Tough. Rams defense never really seems to fully get there. I'm bumping Tet down. I'm putting Wandale above him. I'm going to go with Wandale for that one. What's going on, Ross? Happy Thanksgiving to you too, good sir. Favorite dish on this holiday? I mean, a lot of people hate on turkey. I love turkey as long as it's cooked well. And thankfully, both my mother-in-law and my mom, they both cook a great turkey, nice and moist, good gravy, all that good stuff. But in terms of the dishes, what I think is the real glue of Thanksgiving is stuffing. Especially if you get a little sausage crumbs in there, even better. But just stuffing in general, I could eat pounds and pounds of stuffing. I think you mix, and some people think it's disgusting. They keep all their food separate, but I'm a big mix the potato. I love it all. I think the Thanksgiving feast in terms of when you have your potatoes, your stuffing, your turkey. I'm not a big cranberry sauce. That's one of the things I don't actually reach for. I don't mind the green bean casserole with the crispy onions, all that stuff. Phenomenal. I'm a big fan of mixing in, especially the gravy, the stuffing, the turkey, and the potatoes, just mixing it all, making a mess. Phenomenal stuff. So I'm going to go with stuffing. And one thing my mom does with the stuffing too, she cooks it a little longer so it gets nice and crispy on the edges. Ooh, great stuff. I'm a big stuffing guy, Ross. What about you? What's your favorite dish on Thanksgiving? But if I was doing a draft, turkey is your meat. It's probably tough to not take it 101. You have to have a good turkey for a good meal. I don't know, though. Stuffing, I really I couldn't do Thanksgiving without stuffing. Dak or Bo Nix. I got to go with Dak Prescott here, Ross H. 52.5 over-under for that game today. Tough defense last week. Still put up a bunch of fantasy points, 28 if I'm not mistaken. Could get in for a rushing touchdown with the zone defense. They drop by and shoot, Dak can zip up that middle. And Bo Nix so inconsistent. Yeah, the matchup is certainly there with him, but way too boom bust. Doesn't really look good, not passing the eyeball test. So as good as that Washington matchup is, we look at Bo Nix's last couple of games, 7.8, 12.6. Did have 19.5 and then a couple blow-ups, 40 and 24. But the boomer bust nature of the game, give me Dak. Steadier, great game environment today. Thanksgiving fun. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. And then Chase Brown or Javonte, I got to go with Chase Brown. Gets his boy Burrow back. So I don't know if Samaje Perine is in or not. Samaje Perine. Step back is a top change of pace back. So it sounds like he is logged a full practice. That does stink because, Chase Brown these last few weeks, if you look at the utilization hub, he was right back into that crazy, 90-ish% of the snaps, touches. I'm just going to pull up the game logs here because without Samaje Perine, he was back into that load. And then you add Burrow into that, and it's like, okay, yeah, give me that all day. So then we go Bengals. And the last 3 weeks for him, 90, 95, 83, and 90% of the snaps. 79, 86, and 83% of the rush attempts. And then the route shares really, really gets me going. 86, 83, and 74% after hovering right around 47, 46, 47 with Perine in there. Brown really took over that role, and he's been at 19.2, 18.7, and 15 points, 25 the week before. So running back 5, 6, 12, and 13 these last few. Javonte, you really need that touchdown against a stiff defense, and I just don't know that he gets there. So I'm going to go Chase Brown, even with Perine back. Does limit the floor and ceiling a little bit, but maybe they're just like, you know what? Chase Brown brings way more to the table. They saw what these last few weeks went like. Let's go with it. Chase Brown either way. Burrow in one league, would you keep Nix or Darnold as the second QB going into the playoffs? If you need – you're saying you only start one and you just need to keep one of them. I'd keep Darnold. Like I said, this one I want to check the playoff schedule a little bit more. I'll admit I don't have either of these guys. So in the playoffs, Bo Nix gets – for week 15, Green Bay, Jacksonville, a good 16 matchup, and then Kansas City, in week 17, maybe a shootout game, but also two good defenses, maybe an ugly one. That's kind of how I would view that. Whereas Darnold, let's check his playoff schedule. And I would almost say, do you need a backup QB at all? He gets Indy, Rams, Carolina, not a great schedule either. I guess I'd keep Nix and hopes of that, what was it, the week 16 game. That could potentially be good for him. But I also am like, do you really need one either way? Could you stash a defense ahead of time? Could you get some of those handcuffs and that good stuff? My man, Krana, I had to know on Thanksgiving you'd be coming in with a food question. Good to see you, sir. Sit one, mashed potato stuffing, pumpkin pie. Well, you've already heard how I would bury my face in a stuffing and leave it there for the next 2 hours. So it's not going to be stuffing getting benched here. It's pumpkin pie for me because there's other desserts you can get to, and I like pumpkin pie. I'm going to have pumpkin pie today. I love it with Cool Whip on top to get a little dollop on there, no doubt about it. But you need potatoes. You need stuffing. If somebody was like, I forgot the pumpkin pie today, my Thanksgiving isn't ruined. You don't have potatoes and stuffing. I'm not saying my day's ruined. There's going to be good football and family, but my day took a stock hit. Pumpkin pie's gone. The hit is very, very minimal to me. So you got to have potatoes. You got to have stuffing. Pumpkin pie, the only time of year I do eat it is on Thanksgiving. So it is kind of one of those things it's once in a year. I do look forward to it. I enjoy it. Wouldn't be heartbroken if I didn't get pumpkin pie today, but I need the potatoes and stuffing to complement that turkey to round out a full meal. So I'm benching pumpkin pie there. And now on to your football questions. You got Hurts, Mahomes in a guillotine league. I am going to go with Hurts. That Chicago defense is still pathetic, down to 3 of their top linebackers. Their secondary is completely banged up. Give yourself a little Black Friday fun. It's Mahomes, though. Sorry. Especially in 6-point pass. I have Hurts, quarterback 4. So I was like, this can't be too many people. I just read that it's Mahomes. So my quarterback won this week against Dallas Cowboys defense. So take that, scratch that off the record. I love both these guys, two of your top 4 quarterbacks of the week. Dallas Cowboys are giving up the most points, and you have that 6-pass touchdown. Higher floor as well in a guillotine where you just got to not be last. Whereas Hurts, like if he disappeared and Barkley had 3 touchdowns, I'd be shocked at this point, this year. But it happened a lot last year. Either way, Mahomes, my quarterback 1 for the week. We're going with him. And then Flowers or T-Mac in full PPR. I'm going to go with T-Mac. I don't love McMillan, but we've seen a couple glimpses of the ceiling. Whereas Flowers, what we talked about, 1 game inside the top 20 wide receivers, most of them below 10 points, just kind of like ho-hum. Still play Henderson or Dowdle. I have Bucky, but I feel, so they already talked about limiting his work, so I'd keep Bucky on the bench for those 2 guys who also are having their work limited, especially Dowdle on Monday night. That was very, very concerning and frustrating. Definitely still playing Henderson. He saw 21 touches to 4 or 5 for Ramondre. Still was the clear featured back. Should have had a touchdown on his day. I originally marked him as a down, and a lot of people corrected me, and I dove into the usage and stats and snap rate, and he was much better than I expected in the peripherals. So Henderson, I'm still feeling great about. Dowdle, very concerned, but ultimately I still think both those guys are projected better than Bucky Irving for me. And then Ty Warren or Gadsden at tight end. Oh, man, Ty Warren after starting the year is super hot. He's been pretty sketchy. And then you get Houston. Now, let me check on Houston because I know they're a great defense, but I wonder if it's one of those defenses that's good against everything other than tight ends. We've seen a few of those. So let me see. No, they're 4th worst matchup for tight ends as well. Whereas Gadsden gets the Raiders who are just above them, the 5th worst matchup. So neither of these guys necessarily in great spots, but Gadsden really has thrived with that line being banged up. They need to get that ball out quick. I'm flipping them in my rankings. I'd rather have Gadsden in my lineup. I'm honestly going to put Mark Andrews fat and useless above Tyler Warren. As much as I love the guy as athletic and freakish as he is, it's been pretty underwhelming. Deep league, Charbs, Knight, Rodriguez. I'd go Rodriguez. Unless if we do get Trey Benson ruled out, Knight's probably the lead back. And so I might switch those 2, but for right now, I'm going to go Rodriguez. And Igbuka or Goddard, potential no Smitty. No Smitty does make Goddard very intriguing. And then you got no Baker Mayfield, which does ding Igbuka a bit. But I'd still probably go Igbuka. We've seen a lot of times these backup narratives, they come in and just lock on their number 1 read, and Igbuka is going to be that more often than not. So I'd probably go Igbuka with or without Smitty. And then Chrono Ladd or M. Wilson. I'm going M. Wilson, and I'm going to go Burrow over Goff. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I do think this is going to be 2 8-3 teams, you and your Bears and your Eagles. Maybe a close game with a few. Yeah, they have their secondary all banged up, Chrono. Who says the Bears can't go in there and shock the world? I'm there. I probably picked the Eagles to win this one, but it's close. So, let's go Bears. I'd love to see you guys upset the Eagles. What's going on, Jay, from Scotland? And thank you. I always forget to say it at the top, but let me know where you guys are commenting in from. Love to see it. And Jay, thank you again for that earlier super chat. Very much appreciate it. Quincy Davis, let's go Pats. You know, I'm wearing my Patriots gear for the stream today. Let's go, baby. Lamar Brissett. Similar situation for me, Quincy, but I'm in that boat where it's like, if you don't do it against Cincy, I'm kind of done with you, but I got to give you a shot, Lamar, tonight against Cincy. Certainly over Purdy, Lamar, but Brissett does get closer, definitely a higher floor, but you got to go Lamar. The top 3 matchup for quarterbacks, the worst defense by a lot of metrics we've seen in years. I'm going Lamar, and I'm just hoping for a big night tonight and riding your guy. And then Quincy asking receiver, 2 running backs, 2 flex. Hunt, Tootin, Vidal, Booty, Johnson, Myers, BTJ, Higgins. Thank you. 4 running backs. So we need some news to kind of shake through here. The biggest being Omarion Hampton. If he's ruled out, Vidal's the easy running back. If Hampton's in, I don't consider Vidal for any of this. So with that in mind, let's assume Hampton's out. We'll go Vidal for running back. We'll go... Oh, man, you got 2 Jags. I don't want to have BTJ and Myers in. Is BTJ even going to play, though? Questionable. I got to go Johnston. As much as I hate that goose egg last week, you get the Raiders, the second best matchup for receivers. So I'm going to go Johnston, and I'm going to go one of the Jags. I think Myers is an easy play. If BTJ is out, I probably roll my BTJ and just hope he gets going for the stretch run. If not, And then 2 flex, I'll probably go a Booty for the big play against the Giants. I like that dice roll. And then I guess you get Hunt in at running back, right, today. Running back 27, I am worried about Pacheco. I'm worried about Quinn Williams. But he's right there with all these other guys. So get him in there. You can decide on some of the news because then you can still get Vidal. There's a lot to decide here, though, Quincy Davis. So I guess what today boils down to is, like, do you play Hunt or not? And I don't love playing him. But with these options and a lot of news that could end up not bending your way, I just get Hunt in, hope he gets into the end zone. He's been an absolute touchdown machine this year. So get him in today. And then, Quincy, I imagine I'll see you Sunday morning, 8 a.m., and we can kind of really sift through once we have more news here. Because right now we're kind of playing a fool's errand. We don't know exactly what's happening. But if I had this, I would be playing Hunt today and then kind of seeing how the chips fall the rest of the week. What's going on, Lewis? Hey, thank you so much for the kind words. Lots of love to you and yours as well. How are you feeling about Yoshi? I think he's a fine stream. There's no T. Higgins. You got Joe Burow back. He's right there in line with the ECR. I think I have him like wide receiver 40-ish. He's a fine play. Let me know who your other options are. But yeah, I can get onto Yoshi today. Quincy Davis, 1 flex. Swift, Harvey, Sutton, Franklin, Alec Pierce, or Pearsall. I got to go Harvey here. I know the final counting stats weren't amazing against a tough run Chiefs run D, but he was the clear lead back, right around 70% of the snaps and touches. I got to go Harvey. Much softer matchup coming up this week. I think this is really his coming out party. If you really didn't want to go him, I guess you could pivot to Alec Pierce. That's a tough Houston defense. So yeah, give me Harvey against Washington. I think he runs all over him. Do I bump him above Javonte Williams is the question. That's a tough Chiefs run defense. Yeah, I think I do. And yeah, again, happy Thanksgiving to you too, Quincy. Thanks for showing up this morning. Greatly appreciate it. We did, before I get to you, Coach Zeke, we did have another super chat. And thank you, Jay, your second super chat of the day on Thanksgiving. Very kind and generous of you, sir. Need to bench 1 Pickens, Ladd, Sutton, and Buka. Oh, what a phenomenal receiver core. But I'm definitely doing Sutton at that point. He's been out-targeted and out-produced by Troy Franklin in, 4 straight weeks. Washington's a great matchup. No way you're benching Pickens after 30-point days and back-to-back weeks. Ladd against the Raiders, second most points to receivers. That feels like a great spot. It does come down to Buka and Sutton. So I shouldn't act like it's a complete no-brainer. But just Sutton's been trending the wrong way for multiple weeks now. So yeah, I do have Sutton like kind of the clear lowest. I have Buka at 16. So you have 3 guys in my top 16. Awesome. And then ultimately, Cortland Sutton's my wide receiver 30. I'm a little lower on ECR, and he still would be below them. So yes, I'm going to be benching Sutton there, Jay, and rolling Pickens, Ladd, and Buka. Phenomenal options there for sure, though. And thank you again so much for your super chat. And if you want to show some thanks in a free way, that thumbs up button on YouTube, the heart button on Twitter would help us get out to so many more people. We're right around 880 of you live with us. Not bad for a random Thanksgiving early morning. I know a lot of people might be recovering today after what it used to be called, Blackout Wednesday. Too old for that. Have the kid now. No need for those things in my life. But hopefully some of you had some fun times. There were definitely some fun night before Thanksgivings in the past. So maybe some of you guys are recovering out there, but either way, 880 of you here, and I am so appreciative to have you with me on this Thanksgiving, and just in general, so appreciative to have this audience and have this platform. You guys have been so kind in helping Roto Street really become a thing, become a great second source of income for me, and it's just so appreciated. I am able to keep everything free because you guys visit the website. It's just so amazing. So again, so thankful to have this wonderful community and wonderful outlet, and to be able to do a passion and make money off of it wouldn't be happening without you guys showing up like this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. King Wolf, good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you and the fam, and to you as well, Coach Zeke. Hope you have a phenomenal day with you and the loved ones. Dak or Knicks for Art 3 Cable. Definitely Dak for me. Again, that Washington matchup probably has us feeling a type of way for Bo Nix. And it should be. We've seen Bo Nix take advantage of his facing the Giants. He puts up 40. We know that ceiling exists. Certainly could be wrong on this one, but Dak is just so much safer and steadier in a game environment with a 52.5 over-under. Even if the Chiefs get up big, they'll be throwing, kind of like last week against the Eagles. Put up a great total in a very tough matchup. So I'm going Dak on that one, Art. King Retros, half PPR, DK, Egbuka, Wandale, Debo. Pick 2, happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to go with Egbuka and Wandale for this one. Worried about that Denver matchup for Debo. DK's the ankle, right? Is Rodgers ever going to throw to him deep anyways? So give me Egbuka and Wandale for that one, King Retros. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Bleezy, Watson, Michael Wilson with Marvin Harrison coming back, or Egbuka with Mayfield banged up. I like Michael Wilson still. I think Marvin Harrison, I think Michael Wilson's kind of exposing him for the, not fraud, but bust, overrated at minimum. Marvin had one good game, and Brissett's playing very well, and then Michael Wilson comes in and shows, like, it's easy to be a true alpha with Brissett. Something Marvin Harrison couldn't do. So I think Michael Wilson is kind of, was that captain? I am the captain now. Like that, he had that moment, and this is him. I'm not benching him at this point. I like Watson a lot today. Bleezy. I have a 2-touchdown bet on him. I have him in all my touchdown parlays as well. I think Watson has a nice day. Detroit you can throw upon, and he's really looked good. No Jaden Reed. Definitely high on Watson. In fact, I feel like I got to be a little bit higher than where I have him. I'd rather have him than a Dunes. I'd rather have Watson than Justin Jefferson this week. I'm gonna tweet that out for sure. Would rather play Christian Watson greater than Justin Jefferson. So I'm doing some ranking. Right now, and I'm just going to tweet that out because I really do think Christian Watson has himself a day. So bumping him up above Jefferson, Adunze, even Michael Pittman. I think Christian Watson has a day, and I still like Michael Wilson more. I'm plus 7 ECR on him. I wonder if you can find a way to get them both in there, Bleezy, but that's where I'm leaning. Giuseppe, we will get to you in 1 sec, but we did have a super chat from my man, Luis Perez. Thank you so much, good sir. We need 1 out of Mechie, Benson, Yoshi, Charbs, Booty, Manungai, Fannin. Tough options here to sift through. I think I like Charbs as the touchdown bet the best. Yoshi also in a decent spot to score. They're all, I don't know if Benson's going to play yet, which makes this tricky. So that's where it's like, I do like Yoshi, but if Benson plays, he's probably my favorite option. But then he might be on snap count as well. I actually really like Booty to, I don't know. What did he look like in his game back? Hold on. Let me pull up the utilization from last week for the Patriots so I can see. And granted, with the line banged up, they might not be able to get quite as many of those deep shots that Booty's really thrived with. I mean, he came right back off injury and was on 85% of the routes. Granted, only 6% target share. And didn't do much with it, 3.5. But against the Giants, you can certainly get deep here, Lewis. Call me crazy, but I like Kayshon Boutte, the fact that he just walked right back into that clear starting role. And meanwhile, so like what did that do to Matt Collins' route share? He was still at 79%. So both those guys played. It must have been Diggs. Yeah, Diggs down at 54%. What are we doing? That makes no sense to me. And definitely, Kyle Williams, a lot of blocking, so maybe that's why you have Matt Collins, Booty, so you have 2 good blockers in there. But I like Kayshon Boutte there. I think you can definitely get the big play going against the Giants. So let me see how I have these guys ranked. I'm going to have to bump Booty up because I have Yoshi above. Maybe I do stick with Yoshi here. This is a really good one. I mean, these guys are all around. I like Manungai taking over that backfield, but not against Philly. And I mean, Metch's had a few great weeks in a row, but that one just, I don't know if I can trust that. I'm going to say, though, I honestly just like Charbs. Like, every week he's almost scoring. Let me just pull up how many weeks he's scored. Charbonnet. I'm bumping him in the rankings as we speak. So assuming you're half PPR, he has a touchdown in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10 games so far for Charbonnet. It is very touchdown or bust. This as you guys can see, this one has me stumped, Lewis. I can see why you're having a hard time. Maybe you just go Yoshi. With no Jamar, how did Yoshi look last week? And Burrow always had, that's always a decent bet to score. So Yoshi was at 90% routes, 10.6, 31 points. 18% target share. Ugh. It's Yoshi or Charbs for me. I'm going to take Booty out of this equation. I'll go Yoshi tonight, Lewis, I think, especially if it's full PPR and you get some reception points. That's a very, very tough one, though. You had your boy stumped completely on that one. Alrighty, thank you again so much. We're almost at 1,000. A thumbs up button from you or a heart button on Twitter. That might push us over the edge and help us hit that 1,000 day for Thanksgiving. We're at the hour mark. I'll be going at one more hour, unless the mailbag wraps up before then. So we shall see. It's a decently sized mailbag, though, so we'll just keep plowing on through. Starting with my man Giuseppe, but please do consider hitting that thumbs up, the likes, the shares, the retweets, helping us grow. And then please do check out rotostreetjournal.com. Tons of great content. CJ's best bets are up there. And I'll have these rankings live and updated, and every click really does help us out. Start Algier, Tootin, Rodriguez, Mostert, if no Genti or Vidal in bad shape. Lot to figure out here, Giuseppe. If there's no Hampton, Vidal's an easy play. If there's no Genti, but Hampton's in, I'd probably go to Mostert. But I like Rodriguez, assuming Genti's in, assuming Hampton's in. I'd go with Rodriguez, the featured back here. Tootin very tempting against Tennessee in garbage time, but I don't know. What if they play him tight? We know Etienne's the clear favorite there. So I'm going to go with either Vidal if Hampton's out, or Rodriguez otherwise. Because Zamir White even is involved, so Mostert probably no thanks. Giuseppe Russo, same team flex, PPR, Gadsden, Addison, Burden, Tootin, Rodriguez, or Vidal. I would probably flex. They're definitely not Addison at this point. I would probably go Gadsden at the flex. I just love the guy. Huge Gadsden fan. Love the quick strike attack there. Daniel Jones or Jordan Love. I'm going Jordan Love today. Thrives. I don't know if you heard the stats, Giuseppe. Thrives on Thanksgiving. 2 games. He has 540 yards, 5 touchdowns in 2 games. So averaging, right around 270 and 2.5 touchdowns on Thanksgiving days. 127 perfect quarterback rating as well. And a great matchup against a Detroit team that just gave up how many points to Jameis? So, yeah, I'm actually bumping Love up myself to quarterback 14. I think he's a very sneaky DK play as the cheapest quarterback and low ownership as well. And then Giuseppe, pick one receiver, one flex, half PPR. Debo, Wandale, Michael Wilson, Dobbs, Monty, or Vidal. I'm going to go Michael Wilson as my favorite receiver. And then for the flex, I'm going to go Wandale for the flex. Wilson and Wandale for that one, Giuseppe. Eric Buckman, tight end, Strange, Loveland, or Kincaid. Is Kincaid going to play this week is a question I have. Kincaid. Because he's been very, very solid when in, and the Steelers are a great matchup. Kincaid. I don't have him, still not practicing is the report I'm seeing. So I like Strange, walking right off the injury report and into 93 yards and a hefty target share. He's my tight end 12 against Tennessee. Solid spot. Yeah, I like me some Brenton Strange this week. Kincaid plays that gets tougher, Buckman. We'll find out on Sunday. We are over 1,000 too. Awesome to see it. Thank you guys so much. Incredible to have 1,000 people here on Thanksgiving. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you. Cheers. Chris, yours truly. Should I trade Quentin or Rome for either Ladd or Pittman? Yes, I would have Ladd or Pittman above either of those receivers. Rome's gotten a little bit sketchier now. I would trade Quentin way earlier. If you can get either of those guys for Quentin, trade them. Do it right now. The goose eggs, the inconsistencies, the line not holding up does make him a bigger risk with those longer developing routes. So I would trade Quentin for either of those guys right away. Arbacone, thank you so much for your generous super chat. 9-3, let's go. Solid season indeed. We got Nix, Kyron, Rico, Jamar, Michael Wilson, Tyler Warren, Igbuka, Tet, and then Jacoby, Gadsden, Worthy, Juwan, Benson, Bucky on the bench. Lineup ideas. So the moves, I don't think I'm going to make too many moves here. I love your lineup. Looks phenomenal to me. I would be playing Jacoby over Bo Nix. That's the only one that I'm like, you got to do it, especially if you have Michael Wilson and stack those boys up. Bo Nix, too inconsistent. I do like the Washington matchup, but he's far from a guarantee to hit it. Whereas, you've had top 12 every single week from Jacoby Brissett and a top 6 matchup now coming up for him too. Give me Jacoby Brissett. That's the only must-make change, in my opinion. The other one I would consider, the only other one I would consider, I think the receivers stay the same. I would consider Gadsden over Tyler Warren. That's also my tight end 5 and 6. They're right neck and neck. I'm an admitted Gadsden stan, but I think against both those guys in tough matchups, I think Gadsden becomes that kind of quick hit, quick strike guy for me. So I would go him over Tyler Warren very, very slightly. The rest of it, I do keep the same. I'll tell you, I'm very intrigued by Jawan Johnson this week too. I have him +3 ECR, but I would go either of your tight ends above him. And I'm higher on Wilson than most of the community. So the only moves that I would absolutely do is Jacoby over Nix, and I'd consider Gadsden over Warren, but that's certainly your own call there. And then I'd probably keep Tet in I imagine that's the flex. Do I put any of these guys in? Bucky over Tet? Not yet with that snap count. So get Jacoby in there, maybe consider Gadsden, and that's all I would do. Thank you so much, RJ, on Thanksgiving. Very kind and generous. 7 super chats. You guys are so kind and generous today. Alrighty, we left off with my man, Coach Zeke. Been on a 4-game win streak. Let's go. Need some advice, so we're back and alive here, Coach Zeke. Love to hear it. Need 1 receiver, 1 flex. We need Burden, Yoshi, C-Rod, Manungai, Pacheco, AD Mitchell, and Mechie still available. Thoughts? I think they should stay available. And I had to pick one of them up. It would be Mechie. But I'd probably go one of these guys above them. So for the receiver, I'd probably play Yoshi today and get him in there. I think I have him, 1 or 2 spots above Burden. I actually have Burden a spot or 2 higher, which I don't know if I love that. I mean, I do love Burden. I think he looks phenomenal, but you saw DJ Moore bounce back last week. I do think I have Burden a little too high, and my first gut reaction was get Yoshi in there today. So get Yoshi in for the wide receiver. I'm going to bump him ahead of Burden at this point. But you could potentially go to Burden for that flex here. I would, if I was you, I'd probably, C-Rod gets Denver. Why couldn't it just be an easy matchup and then Chris Rodriguez could be a no-brainer for us here? It comes down to Yoshi. So you're getting Yoshi in at receiver. And then it comes down to, for me, Burden versus C-Rod. I mean, Manungai with that touchdown role is nice and juicy. He's really taking over that backfield, but not against Philly. I am worried about the Commanders just getting completely swallowed in offense. So I'd probably go Yoshi and Burden for this one, Coach Zeke. Let me know where you go, what you're leaning. That's a very tough call, but good stuff. Yoshivas safe? Safe isn't the word I would use, Hector. I think you can certainly count on him to be out there and playing routes. In terms of how much he actually puts up, he's had some good games with Burrow, certainly in the past. He ran 90% of the routes with no Chase last week. Should be right around there again with no T. Higgins. So I do like him. I wouldn't consider him a must start, but wide receiver 31 last week seems like a spot he could finish yet again, especially if they need points and are shooting it out against Baltimore. That Baltimore D's been tough lately, though, but he's playable. He's certainly playable. Happy Thanksgiving, DJ. Go Panthers indeed. Wish I could be there. It's been a little while since I've been able to get to a Bev Salem game. We're down in Connecticut visiting the Weiss family, but I don't know. You going to the game today, DJ? Let me know. But go Panthers indeed. Sounds like Salem's kind of a joke this year. Don't want to jinx the boys, but let's go Panthers. Hector Zuniga. Starting Dak, Flowers, Yoshivas, and Bates. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir, Hector. Let's go. You got a lot of action. I got to tweet this one out too. My day is pretty insane with how my lineup goes. The 12:30 slate, I got Jahmyr Gibbs. The 4:30 game, I got Rashee Rice. And then the night game, I got Lamar Jackson. I've got some big guns. I've got a lot of investment today, Hector. I can't wait. And it's nice to have somebody in all 3 games. And I know you're in 30 leagues. I'm talking about one league, my main league, the biggest league, the Fez. Fight for the Fez, baby. If any Fezzers are out there, let's go. Big parlay coming today. But yeah, I got some big investments, some big guns in all 3 games. What more could you ask for on Thanksgiving? Just great, juicy matchups. Let's go, baby. Giuseppe Russo. Pick 2 receivers and 1 flex PPR. JMO, Jacoby Myers, Sutton, Parker, Washington, and Tez or Yoshi. For tight end, same team, Pitts or Loveland. Probably going to go Loveland there for the tight end. Philly's very good against the tight end, but he has been emerging, and Pitts sucks. I'm done with him. London might be out, and he hits the Jets, but I'm bumping Loveland above Pitts. Screw Pitts. And then in terms of the 2 receivers in flex, I'm going to go JMO. I'm going to go Sutton, and I'm going to go Parker Washington. If BTJ is ruled in, but Jacoby Myers is playing above him. JMO Sutton, but I don't like Tez necessarily. Just get Yoshi in there? Now we're going to go one of the Jags, Giuseppe. We'll figure that out. I'm sure I'll see you Sunday morning. I'm going to go, though, JMO today. Get him on in there. I'd probably go Sutton over the rest of that crew, especially with Washington on the docket. And then we figure out what Jags receiver we want to play on Sunday. Craig Wheatley. What's going on, Craig? Brissett, Prescott, or Burrow? Oh, man. I'm going to check the rankings because I do believe I have them exactly 6, 7, 8. 6 Burrow, 7 Stafford, 8 Jacoby Brissett, 10 Dak. I got to bump Dak up in that shootout style game. But I'm not putting him above Brissett. I put him above Goff. Herbert against the Raiders. I don't know if I actually want to move him too much. So, yeah, we'll keep that as is. But I do have Burrow the highest. And that's a risk. I know he's coming off this, but I don't think the team would be rolling him out there if he was not 100%. And they're going to, ideally, this is a shootout. We saw last year, those games go absolutely bananas, 34-35, and then 41-38. I don't think we get that this year, but the fact that they could erupt like that, the Bengals defense is just as bad. Maybe. DJ Johnson, full PPR, pick 2. DK, Shakir, MHJ, Mike Wilson, Tyron, Tracy, who has been a lot better than I gave him credit for. I kind of dove in the numbers. People were like, you're too low on Tracy, and I was. Very impressive since Kafka took over. So it's Mike Wilson for me is my favorite. I'm not going to do him and MHJ in the same lineup. Kind of done with MHJ. Overrated. The way Mike Wilson has played with him out, true alpha. Mike Wilson is probably fine. A good receiver. You don't do what he's been doing and not be talented. MHJ hasn't even sniffed that in his career. So overrated, and everybody wants to make excuses for him. So I'm going to go Mike Wilson. I think I go Shakir. This is a Pittsburgh team that really struggles against receivers, especially out of the slot. You saw DJ Moore put up 2-1 lined up in the slot last week. Shakir's been cooking lately. So I'm going to go Shakir and Mike Wilson with Tracy being my third there. King Retros, would you drop Pearsall for Franklin? I think I would. Pearsall sucks. It's Jennings, it's Kittle, and Pearsall getting some scraps. Obviously, McCaffrey's the biggest mouth to feed at the table. Pearsall will probably have a game or two. They have a great wide receiver schedule down the stretch too. But yeah, I'd rather have Franklin. He seemed like the number 1 there. Rudy agreeing, stuffing is the best. Let's go. You know it. You know ball. You know food. Let's go. Bryce Getson, Watson or Aaron Jones? Ooh. That's a good one. I'm worried about the state of this Minnesota's offense. I think they're going to try to ride Aaron Jones as much as they can, but if this thing gets away, it's going to be tough to keep doing that. Seattle's a great run D. Give me Watson. I think he gets at least 1 score today. Tunes, Gadsden, Andrews, or Henry. I would lean. Man, you got a good problem to have here. Normally it's easy Gadsden, but when you got Andrews fat and useless facing the Bengals defense, which has been by far, they give up 20 points nearly to tight end rooms. The next closest is 14. I think I'm going Andrews here. 26 to Loveland, 21 to Hunter Henry. 20. So weeks. Okay, let's go down the list here. From weeks 7, 25 to Freiermuth. Week 8, 11 to Mason Taylor. And it's still pathetic. That's like might as well be 20 points. 26 to Loveland, 21 to Hunter Henry. It could be Isaiah Likely who does it, and that would really piss you off. I'm bumping Andrews ahead of him. I'm putting him at tight end 5. I'm going Andrews on that one. Fat and useless, don't let me down. But that Bengals matchup is just too juicy. Sit 2, full PPR 1. We need to sit 2. So we got Christian Watson, RJ Harvey, Juwan Jennings, Mechie. Mechie is the easy bench for me. Shouldn't even be in the question tune. So then it comes down to sit 1. And I play Harvey and Watson over Juwan Jennings on that one. Rudy, my man that loves the stuffing. Slayton or Hodgins at the flex. And do I sit Rico this week? I wouldn't be sitting him for either of those two. I'd probably go Slayton. Hodgins has been steadier, but that's kind of Jameis's practice squad boy, it seems. I'd rather have Slayton and hope for the deep shot. Him and Dart showed some nice chemistry earlier in the year. It depends who your other option is for Rico. He certainly could be sittable. I'm very concerned with the recent usage, especially from Monday night. I would not sit him for either of those two, but let me know who your other running back is. Dak or May? I'm going to go Drake May. Love that matchup versus the Giants. And it sucks that his line is banged up, Tunes. Maybe it takes away some of the deep action that he's been so good at. He also might be scrambling a little bit more against a Giants run D that is like the worst by a mile in the league. Sit 2, full PPR. Michael Wilson, Henderson, Dowdle, Jefferson. He's been great. They just can't get him the ball lately. I agree. So I think I'm playing Henderson and Michael Wilson. Call me nuts, Tunes, but I'm benching JJ there. I'm benching Dowdle. Mark Schaffner, Judkins or Walker, full PPR. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, sir. I would go Judkins here. That 2-touchdown day. The offense looking stable under Shador, dare I say. I know Shador wasn't insane, but the longest touchdown pass for a rookie quarterback this year. That opened some things up underneath for Judkins, who had his best day in a long time last week. And this is let me just double check, full PPR. So Judkins, running back 10 last week. Yeah, so looking solid there. Walker, just too much of a timeshare for the guy. So give me Judkins slightly over Walker. Juwan or Gadsden? I'm going to go Gadsden there, Bryce. Tough question. Do love Juwan, +3 ECR on him. Great matchup against Miami, but Gadsden's just that guy, I think. Mark Schaffner, Tet, Nico, Michael Wilson, Mechie, pick 2. I would go with Nico and Michael Wilson for this one, Mark Schaffner. It's kind of crazy. Mechie's even in those conversations. Maybe I got to reconsider him. I know he's had 2 good games, but I don't know. Jets receivers do not seem like a winning option to me. Gregorio, got to win this week to get in the playoffs. My money league. Let's go. Get it, Greg. Have a great Thanksgiving. Make that turkey taste better with some big points today. Stephen Weber, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours as well, good sir. Thank you for those well wishes. I greatly appreciate it. Anybody else looking to say thanks? Of course, the super chat is the best way. I won't lie. Money is the best. But a thumbs up is a free way on YouTube, a heart button on Twitter. We're approaching 1,200. Really not bad. Blowing my expectations out of the water. I was like, I'll go live on Thanksgiving. Love to see the people, tell them how thankful I am for having this platform, for being able to have this little revenue stream coming in on a passion, something I love because of all you guys. And I really do appreciate it. And now 1,200 of you here. Awesome stuff. Please do consider hitting that thumbs up button, the heart button on Twitter, and make sure to be checking out rotostreetjournal.com. The rankings, I'm making these moves as I talk, and you guys help me sift through them, making these moves. And so the live updated rankings will be up there right after this show. Flex Dilemma for Luis Perez, Booty, Yoshi, Mechie, Benson. Oh, you super chatted this one, Luis. And I believe we came down upon Yoshi. It's still very tough to me, though. Kareem Hunt as a flex for Corey Reddington. Would I? Maybe. It depends on the other options. I talked about earlier, Corey, how Quentin Williams has really stiffened up that run D, both in back-to-back weeks, Genty and then Saquon under double-digit points, 8 and 6 points for those guys respectively. So I don't love the matchup. And then you have Pacheco come back. If Pacheco was out, I had Kareem Hunt running back 19, was all aboard the Express. But in 5 of 7 games with Pacheco, Kareem Hunt was outside the top 45 running backs, very much a touchdown or bust option. I think this is going to be a different picture. I think Kareem Hunt is the lead back now, whereas Pacheco was to start the year. But even just a little bit of that cheese, 30 carries last week for Hunt was incredible. I don't know that he sees 12 today with Pacheco back in and a much more pass funnel matchup. So he could be a flex. He's not a flex I'm sprinting to put in there either. What's up, Fatty Mateo? Wolf, good to see you, buddy. Thanks, replies. Oh, thank you so much again, Jay, for those super chats. I really appreciate it. Happy Turkey Day. Unsure about Burrow, Stafford, and Dart. You're slightly understood. You're a confused soul. No, I see your underdog. So slight underdog. Oh, man. I mean, I'll admit it. I have Burrow the highest. He's probably the riskiest of the bunch, but you got the guy. He's fully healthy. He's coming in a game that has shootout potential, 52.5 over under. Last year, again, we keep it. I know it was last year, and this Ravens defense was in worse straits, but 41-38, and then 34-35. And Burrow went for absolutely nuclear numbers: 820 yards and 9 touchdowns in those 4 combined games. I'm just going to let it rip and hope for the best. NC Firearms: Jefferson or Ferguson at flex, and Dak or Lamar. I'm going to go Lamar. again, I feel the shakiness myself. I have been in a couple leagues, including my main one. I have Burrow sitting there waiting for me, ready to take the reins. And I want to hand him off, but I'm just like, if Lamar, I paid up for you. You get the best, the worst defense in the last decade. I got to give you a shot tonight. And if you blow it again, okay, then you're going to get significantly downgraded. But I got to go one more time at you. So I'm going to go Lamar, and I probably would go Jefferson. I don't love it, but like I said at the top, NC Firearms, could it get worse than J.J. McCarthy? Maybe. I don't want to know what that looks like. And Jefferson, that would really suck. But, I mean, we've seen 7 out of 8 quarterbacks over the last 3 years play very, very well for Kevin O'Connell. The only one that hasn't is J.J. McCarthy, who just rifles the thing. No touch. If Brosmer could just have touch, I think he'll be all right. So I'm gonna go Jefferson and Lamar there. And Jay, I would go Boswell. Big Boswell fan. He's just a weapon. Anywhere from the 50, he's automatic pretty much. Goff or Burrow, fantasy football dad, I am going Burrow. Let's go. Light him up. Huge upside. Goff at home also has a lot of upside, and that game has some fun potential, but I'm going Burrow on that one. Fatty Mateo, full PPR. Ferguson versus Warren. I could also try to get both in my lineup, but I would need to bench one of my flexes. I'd keep your flexes as is, Fatty, with Breece, Waddle, and Ladd. And I'd go Ty Warren very slightly over Ferguson. Chiefs, how are they against tight ends? Because I know Houston is good. They're good against everything, including tight ends. The Chiefs are not a great matchup either, though. 24th compared to 29th in points allowed. So I'll go with the talent of Ty Warren on that one. Chris Thomason, you like Goff today on Thanksgiving? I like him, don't love him. It's a good Green Bay defense, but 48.5 over-under, kind of a must-win for both these teams. Should be a fun game. He's my quarterback 10. Solid, Yeah, I like him. Don't love him. David Hankins, full PPR, need to flex. Watson, Worthy, or Gadsden. Leaning Watson, but feel like if I can't play Worthy this week, I never will again. And I agree with you, and that's why I'm kind of like, why is Worthy on rosters? This seems like the Worthy week. It might be the Worthy week, and I certainly have Watson over him. This one comes down to Watson or Gadsden. Worthy, this should be the week, and maybe it is, but it's the week because people are beating Dallas deep. Well, Worthy's one of the worst deep ball receivers. Shouldn't be one of the fastest guys. You think deep threat when you think Worthy, and he sucks at the deep ball. Can't track it. Lamar can't connect with him. They never have the timing down. Maybe it happens today. And if it happens today, it could happen in a monster way, David. So if your gut's I'm getting him in, it's got to be today. I'm more so you don't need to roster him. Get rid of him and pick up a handcuff running back or a defense that's good in the playoffs. I think I go Watson. I really, really like Christian Watson today. It's him or Gadsden for me. I'm probably going to go Christian Watson there. Fannin or Gesicki? I'm going Gesicki, Mark Schaffner. You might have heard some of those stats I was talking about. But with T. Higgins out last year, averaged nearly 14 points per game, was a tight end 3. And that metric, I like Gesicki. I'm putting him above Kyle Pitts. Screw Kyle Pitts. Gesicki, my sleeper play of the day. Tunes going to catch the Bev Salem. Sadly, not down in Connecticut. Tunes, you might see the background here. Not my house. We typically these days, we start Thanksgiving in Connecticut, and then we halfway through the day after we have dinner, right around the 4 o'clock games, we zip back up to Bev and catch dessert with the fam. So no Bev Salem. You're going to be down there, though, Tunes. Hopefully Bev rolls. It sounds like they should roll today. Corey Reddington, Keenan Allen, Kareem Hunt, Michael Wilson, Pacheco, Gadsden, John Mechie. I'm going Michael Wilson as my favorite option here, Corey. I just think the good times roll 18 and 15 targets. Yeah, Harrison comes back. You could cut those in half and it would still be good numbers for him. Love, love, love him. We did have a super chat. Thank you so much, Castro Raider. Pick flex, Washington, Pearsall, Dobbs, or Watson. I'm imagining it's for Washington. You're probably talking about Parker Washington. It could be Malik Washington. Either way, I'm going Christian Watson. No Jaden Reed. And he's just looked really, really good, Christian Watson, since coming back. Looks every bit like that explosive guy who was putting up 30-pointers every now and again with Aaron Rodgers. And I just think he gets, one of those big Thanksgiving Day games. He's really kind of taken over for Romeo Dobbs, who still leads this team, not even actually in routes. Christian Watson has led the team in 3 straight weeks, 83, 80, and 88% of their routes. The thing with the Packers is it's a maddening rotation. We can never know who to trust or who to play. I mean, Watson's out there nearly every game for every snap, and with 20 and 9.9 in his last two, I think the guy could score too. Detroit's a great matchup for wide receivers. I think they're going to need points. I love watching a score today, and if he gets two, wouldn't shock me at all. So I am, let me see. Watson, right now I'm only like +2 ECR, but I bumped him up, and he's going to end up being like +6 ECR for me. I have him even above like Jefferson this week. Yeah, I'm a huge Christian Watson fan. And yeah, the targets, it hasn't been amazing. 4, 4, 4, 5, 7. Still, though, very, very efficient so far. Looks phenomenal. And I love the matchup today. It might be his highest target share of the day as well. So I'm big into Watson there for sure. Thank you so much for the super chat as well. Sam Stacks, I have Ferguson in a half PPR league and Dallas Goedert in a full PPR league. I also have Juwan Johnson in both. Am I crazy for wanting to start Juwan in both? I don't think you're crazy. I have Juwan above both. Yeah, I mean, it's a top 3 matchup against Dallas. Him and Tyler Shuck have that chemistry. I love Juwan Johnson. You're not crazy. Him versus Ferguson is very tricky because Ferguson's been such a touchdown machine this year. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Juwan Johnson over both of them. You're not crazy, Sam. Either way, I'm gonna go Juwan. The only if Devonta Smith is ruled out, Dallas Goedert would leap both these guys and become that like clear number 2 against a bad Chicago defense. So Dallas Goedert could leap them both if Devonta Smith's ruled out, Sam. But otherwise, I like Juwan there. Steven Pereira, Bucky, Tet, Wandale, Michael Wilson, pick 3. I'm benching Bucky. I like all 3 of these receivers a lot. Bucky's already been, they said he's going to be on a pitch count similar to Godwin, which was 25 to 70 snaps last time for Godwin. So I'll wait and see on Bucky. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Bulldog. What's going on? Judkins or Harvey? I like Harvey there. Washington matchup, very, very soft. Looked like they clear. Let me just look at the exact usage because we got quite a few Harvey questions. I just remember being very encouraged by the peripherals with him, even if the final stats weren't great for Harvey. He seemed to be the clear featured back in Dobbins' first. So 61% of the snaps, 48% of routes, 61% of rushes. Pretty good peripherals, but not incredible. But yeah, the Washington matchup's too soft. I'm going Harvey there. Sam Stacks picked 2. Diggs, Wilson, and Sutton. I'm going Michael Wilson, and I'm going to go Diggs, but I don't love it. That 54% route share last week really does sketch me out with Booty back. Hey, Space, K-Space, we'll get to you in one sec, but Juan Pena, thank you so much for the generous. We're up to 9 super chats on Thanksgiving. You guys are so kind and so generous. Who for my wide receiver 3 and flex spots? We got Charbonnet, E. Wilson, probably none of them. We're probably going 3 receivers here, but let's find out. Tez Johnson, Addison, Dortch, Quentin Johnson, Deebo Samuels, Myers, or Parker Washington. Oof. I'm going to go Deebo despite the tough matchup. Just not enough to bench him here. I would go Quentin Johnston. Great matchup. The goose egg risk is real, but the blow-up upside's huge. And then I'm going to go Packer, or rather Jaguar here. And very tough call between Myers and Parker Washington, especially with like what's his name due back. BTJ might even be back and make this even messier. I feel like Jacoby's at 6 targets and, the 3 of his last 6. I feel like he just feels a little safer. So I'm going to go Myers, Quentin, and Deebo Samuel for your Juan Pena. Yeah, if Jacobs was out, we could easily go Emmanuel Wilson. Charbonnet does get a little consideration over these Jags guys, but in full PPR, which is what I think you play, Juan, I'm going to go Deebo, Quentin, and Jacoby Myers is how I would play that. Thank you so, so much for your generous support. And with 1,300 of you here, as we're getting close to the end of the mailbag, guys, thank you again so much for being here. We're going to wrap up the mailbag, but please do consider hitting that thumbs up. Maybe we get to 1,500 by the end of the show. Didn't even look like we were going to hit the 1,000 at one point, and now you guys really showing up in droves, and it is so, so greatly appreciated. Please do consider that thumbs up on YouTube, the heart button on Twitter, the likes, the shares, the retweets. It all does greatly help us so much. K-Space. Pick one, Dobbs, Booty, Aaron Jones. I'd go with Aaron Jones there. Dobbs, ever since Watson's back, has been borderline useless. Booty got a lot of routes, but no real production. And a lot of his routes, who knows if the Pats line can hold up for him to get deep downfield like that. Aaron Jones has really taken over that Minnesota backfield in a tough spot, especially with the quarterback situation so in flux, but that might just mean more work for the backs. Jacobs, Chase Brown, or Adams. Pick one. Whew. Great options. I'm going Devontae Adams, though, the goal line running back, essentially. Automatic at that 1 yard line. So give me Adams very slightly over Chase Brown. And what do you think of Jameson Williams today? I will answer that in 1 second, but we got TM Cray. I just answered that one for you. I apologize that you had to ultimately get the super chat in, but thank you so much for your generosity. To go a little deeper, though, for you, again, Adams is just so lights out. The team is, they might be going for some sort of like receiving touchdown record the way they absolutely force feed him at the goal line stripe. It seems like every week you're getting one of those like 1 to 5 yard touchdowns and just automatic in these last few. 24, 20, 16.7, had 6.6 against Seattle, but was banged up and still caught a 1 yard touchdown there. And then 20.7 last week in half PPR. That's just too lights out for me, TM, to bench. I would rank them Adams than Chase Brown. Chase Brown, if Samaje Perine was out, it might be Chase Brown here. He's been so lights out. We talked about that insane utilization these last few weeks. So it was rivaling that guy last year that became the running back 5 down the stretch because he was in on nearly every snap, 95, 83, and 90% of the snaps the last 3 weeks. But those were all without Samaje Perine. Now, granted, Perine was in a couple weeks ago, and he still had 25. His last 4 games, 25, 19, 18, 15. That's full PPR, so it's a little bit lower than that. I just worry that Perine comes in, eats a lot of that third down work. And then Jacobs, I think he plays the whole game, plays with the knee thing. Will it hamper him? This is a very tough run D, third fewest points allowed to backs. Probably gets in the end zone, but if touchdowns are what we're after, Adams has been as good as anybody in the league. And then you add that upside as well, T-Cray. So I'm going Adams for that one. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Phil, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Worthy or Mooney for the flex? Full PPR. So I don't believe, is Drake London, has there been any official word on Drake London yet? Doubtful for the Jets. So last week we saw Mooney looking as good as he's looked in a few weeks. Kirk Cousins looked a lot better than that Miami start too. And yeah, we got 3 for 74 and touchdown. It was dependent on that long bomb for Mooney. And if you're playing Worthy, you got the Dallas matchup, the second most points allowed, 2 wide receivers. That defense has gotten a lot better since the trade deadline, though, and those moves they've made. And Worthy, you want the deep shot, but he just never seems to end up shaking free. The guy hasn't had double-digit points since week 4. 8, 9, 6, 7, 4, 4, 7.9. I'm going Mooney there. I'm not a Worthy guy. Didn't draft him really anywhere this year. I was very excited when he landed with the Chiefs as a rookie, and he's just been so underwhelming ever since. So, yeah, I'm going Mooney. 2 deep ball guys. Give me the one that actually connects on him and hits him every now and again is where I would lean there. All righty. We left off at Lucius. What do you think of Jamo? I like him. I know last week the goose egg is very scary. He's kind of like a rich man's Quentin Johnston, where he has more blow-ups, but then every now and again could just completely disappear on you. But in half PPR, since Dan Campbell took over the play calling, we had that 0, but we also had 14.6, 20.9, and 17.7. He was the wide receiver 2 entering last week, was wide receiver 3 and 6 in back-to-back games. But over those 3 week span, wide receiver 4, 14, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 6, he was second in total wide receiver points. And then, of course, a goose egg pops back up. But I like it. I like it, the matchup. I think they're going to need points. I think it's going to be a fun game. So I like Jamo today. Scott Tobias, current lineup, Superflex. Would you change anything? Dak and Goff, Daddle Judkins, Chase and Jamo, Gadsden, Flex Henderson, Warren, bench, Nix, Johnson. No, I keep it as it is. In the future, Tobias, try to just limit to what you're actually asking the questions about. But I do keep it as you have it. I'm very intrigued by Watson, but I would not bench either of the flexes that you have for him. Burrow or Dart? I'm going Burrow. I'm into it, Sam Stacks. Keep reiterating the stats, but those games were insane last year. 34 to 35, 41 to 38. Burrow, 820 yards and 9 touchdowns. I don't know that we get that this year. This Ravens defense is definitely stiffer. Even still, though, Burrow, the upside is just too much for me to bench this week. Pittman or T-Mac? I'm going Pittman. Tough Houston matchup for sure, but number one for Danny Jones. Yeah, I'm going to go Pittman. It's more so they've got the same tier, like it better. Chris Thomason, not sure who to start, Goff or Purdy. I'm going Goff. Purdy, three picks last week, not looking good. Cleveland, not a great matchup, just a boring type of overall matchup. So I have Purdy at quarterback 18. And Chris, you can find these at roadstreetjournal.com, all free. No reason to not look, right? But yeah, I'm going to go Goff over Purdy. And then Juan, you super chat that one already. Thank you so much for your support, brother. 11 super chats on the day. You guys are so kind, so generous on this Thanksgiving holiday. I really, really appreciate it. Who do I start at quarterback? Dak Prescott or Justin Herbert? Oh, man, that's my quarterback 8 and 9, Pat. I go Herbert with that Raiders matchup, but it is very, very close, very tough. If you end up going Dak, totally understand. 52.5 over under today. Shootout style game. Very tough one. Michael Regine, full PPR, pick 2. Pearsall, Harrison if he plays. Parker, Pierce, Yoshevich, Mechie. All righty. I would go with don't love most of these. I would probably go Pierce as my favorite, Michael, and then get Yoshi in today. Tough question, though. Very tough. All kind of in that same tier. Happy Thanksgiving, Aiden. Hey, thank you so much, TM Craig, again for that super chat. Glad you found the show informative. Hopefully it helps you guide you to the right decision. Very, very tough call. You have a great team if you got to bench a couple of those guys. Sam Stack, Stevenson or Hunt? I'd go with Hunt. Henderson really took over that backfield, so at least I expect Hunt to be the lead guy, even if Pacheco's nibbling that cheese. And Aiden, got a terrible lineup, need to start too. Sorry to hear it, Aiden. Devin Neal, Troy Franklin, Woody Marks, or Cortland Sutton. I would probably go with Marks and Neal, and both those backs seem like 15 to 20 touch guys this week. I'd trust the volume and just go for that. You got a Indy Rundy that's pretty good for Woody Marks, but still, if that game is as tight as it looks like it'll be, I think Woody will be an every snap type of player. And then I'll go Devin Neal. Great matchup against Miami. Seems to be in prime position to take that backfield over. Got a lot of receiving work as well last week from Tyler Shuck, so I like that. And you're welcome, Michael Regine. Thank you guys again so much. 11 super chats, 1,400 of you here on that way out. Please consider that thumbs up on Twitter, the heart on YouTube. All these rankings will be live at rotostreetjournal.com. Check out the website, and it would mean the world. Thank you again just one more time. So thankful on this day of Thanksgiving to have this audience, this platform, this ability to make money on something that I love beyond a doubt is just so great, especially now that I have a kiddo. To have that extra income means the world. You guys are getting us through daycare. So thank you guys so much. You're the absolute best. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday. Enjoy the family and friends. Go dawdle over Woody Marks. Let's get that first round bye. There you go. Enjoy some peace as well, carry on. You guys are the absolute best, though. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate you constantly being here. We'll be live again at 8 a.m. and Sunday, as always, guys. Can't wait to help you guys then. Until then, get all the fantasy points you can. Feast on points, feast on food. Enjoy the time. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday.